Hello, Virgo, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of June 22nd through the 28th. And during that time, we will have a waning crescent moon. And that's a really good time for surrender, rest, and healing. Good time to just let go, rest, and just get prepared for the new cycle ahead. Because we do have the new moon that comes in on the 25th or 26th, kind of depending on where you are. And that is a really good time for a fresh start, new beginning, a good time to start a new project or learn new skills or make new decisions. So, just let things go. And, as we move into that new moon energy. Okay, we've got a couple of cards flying. Well, we'll take that one. Okay. Overall energy for this reading, emotions are running high, Virgo. Let's see what you guys have going on. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter this week. So, of course, Virgo, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And as I'm shuffling, I would like to say that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button. It really helps my channel. It's super, super easy for you to do. So I will give you just a moment right now to do that as I'm shuffling. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back and helping me build a community here. I noticed that most of my subscribers do watch their videos every week, and that's very encouraging to me. So thank you so much for being here. Also, my weekly reminder this week, Virgo, is that you get out into nature. Take a walk, maybe take a hike somewhere. Find a nice wooded area if it's a little warm and it's starting to get hot here during the day. So a nice shady wooded area is nice. There's lots of critters running around, and if it's like here, there's birds and squirrels, that sort of thing. If you're near water, if you're near the ocean, we're all very jealous, first off. So know that, and don't take that for granted. Go out and listen to the ocean for the rest of us. If you're near a creek, where you can hear water running, even a lake that has, some lapping waves there on the shoreline, it's so relaxing to sit and listen to water like that. But get out into nature, find a beautiful place, and just really close your eyes, connect with nature, and enjoy. So that is my weekly reminder for you. All right, Virgo, without further ado, let's get into this reading. Virgo, June 22nd through the 28th, emotions are running high. Let's see what you guys have going on. All right. Well, we're going to start off with some emotions here with the Four of Cups, which is you feeling a little bit dissatisfied with maybe what the universe is offering, or maybe even what someone else is offering you in the way of emotions. You're just kind of like, yeah, okay. So yeah, if your emotions are running high, it looks like it kind of starts with some dissatisfaction with something. Your current situation is the Sun card. So, maybe you're going from one thing to another because this is the ultimate happiness. And if your situation, if you're really, really happy, how can you be that disappointed by something that's being offered to you? That might make more sense to you than me at this moment, but we'll pull some more cards and see what happens. At the root of your situation is the Knight of Pentacles. So there's some sort of action happening here on the material front, and this could be something going on with your job. Maybe this is just some sort of disruption where you're pretty happy, but something comes in and you're just not happy about it. But it looks like some sort of action. The root of it is some sort of action on the pentacle front. So something in your world. This could be something with your job or something that's going on with your maybe your house or your apartment. Maybe your lease is up, or maybe there's some kind of change with something and you were very happy and you're not happy about that, and now you've got to start moving to make those moves. That's just one example of many. So but emotions are running high. Whatever it is that's causing you some emotions, right? In your recent past is the Three of Pentacles. So you're coming into this with maybe some sort of collaboration or agreement, and maybe that's just what it is. Something that you thought was kind of set in stone is now changing, and it is just kind of, like I said, causing you some sort of dissatisfaction or emotions. It's Okay. And at on your mind is the High Priestess. So, there's a part of you that I think, this is a card of intuition. Maybe there was something that you did have a feeling about and you kind of saw this coming. And and you're disappointed that maybe you were right about it. But and it could have been something that even you had like a dream about. There was some sort of a little warning to you from the universe about this entire situation. And um and here it is, and and maybe you're happy that you had that feeling, that you knew that was coming. But there it is. And yeah, it's just, I feel like there are some mixed emotions. Some of those emotions might actually be that you're happy about it, happy and upset at the same time, if that makes sense. What is just ahead of you is the Hermit, as you go within and do some inner searching, I guess, as you kind of try to resolve whatever the situation is that's going on with you or around you or with people around you. And that might be a good thing. It might be good to kind of, if your emotions are running high, it's a good thing to maybe withdraw just a little bit until you settle things in your own mind and your own heart, before you're sharing with others. Especially if you're not trying to have, big blowouts or big, outbursts, as the case may be. In your advice position, is that things are happening very quickly here with this Eight of Wands. That there's just a lot of change coming. And again, I use the example of maybe your housing situation changes. Maybe something happened in your apartment and you're not able to live there anymore. It could have been something completely not even related to you. Maybe there was a water leak, and it's things are happening fast and you're just not happy about it. But maybe you did see something come in, you had some sort of dream or something, you're like, wow, this is like my dream. But go within and get yourself settled and realize that sometimes things like this happen for a reason. Things kind of come out of the blue. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised right now to pull out like a Tower card, because I'm almost feeling this disruption, even though the cards haven't really said that yet. But I'm feeling like there's some sort of just something kind of out of your control, but you also kind of saw it coming, if that makes sense. So I'm sure for some of you it does make sense. Others maybe not. Again, take what resonates. But the advice, this is in your advice position, is that things are happening quickly. And to me, that just means just be ready, be on the ready to respond to things that are coming in quickly. That just make sure you have a clear head, and that you can respond and react to these things that are happening very quickly. What is beyond your control is judgment. So this is, is there judgment of you? Are you being judged? Are you judging others? Or is there something, where you kind of make a decision about this? The judgment card is kind of about, a new awareness. Like you learn something new, you learn something or something happens, and you do kind of have you make judgments about that. That's just, it's kind of like, if you didn't quite have all the information, now you do. Something is exposed and you're like, oh, okay, that's why that is. So, but think about that, because this is about, it's about just new awareness, a new awareness. It's about, things that come to you that kind of just reveal what they are, so that you can see the truth of different things. So that is beyond your control this week. Nothing you can do about that. What is your secret desire? What you're trying to avoid? Wow. So look at these cups too. This is our five. So we've got the four and the five now of cups. This is like true. This is just, it's like the next step from the where this guy's a little bit dissatisfied. This is more of a grief situation where you're just ugh. And so are you trying to avoid that? I don't imagine that it's your secret desire to have this feeling, to have the feelings of the five of cups, because your cups are spilled. There it is. It's very, very emotional, whatever it is that's going on. But let's not forget these two cups behind you, um, because they're there. You do have some support around you also, and make sure that you realize that. But I would imagine that that's kind of what you're trying to avoid this week, is just kind of being pushed into those deeper feelings, those deeper emotions for whatever reason. Okay, what is your outcome this week? Is the moon. And I see the moon so much like the High Priestess. Like I just feel like those cards are connected in such a way that, they're both about, intuition, inner knowing, kind of cards of mystery, um, yeah, like mysterious paths, things that are revealed in the night. Like I said, maybe you had a dream about something, but this is your outcome. And maybe you have, maybe you are working within some sort of intuitive thing that you can't even really put your finger on yet. But if that makes sense, I mean, you just like you do have a lot of emotions, and you need to go within. You need to go within and kind of manage all of this stuff. Go ahead and, if you need to block people out this week, that's fine. You don't need to, I'm not seeing a lot of people around in your current, looks like maybe in your past, yes, but it's kind of, this is kind of you against the world and you against making these decisions about some things that are going on around you. And sometimes, we're in that end of the moon cycle, so that we are kind of in that rest and meditation mode, and that's very good for hermiting. Sometimes you just need to get away, and make sense of your own intuitive thoughts or dreams that you're having, or something that you're feeling like is happening, whether you can be clear about it or not, but because it's trying to disrupt your happiness, and we certainly don't want that. But these things happen from time to time, and I think they happen to move us forward. um, Things like this don't happen. We all have bad weeks, and then you get out of it, and then the next week is better. And I'm not even saying it's a bad week. I'm saying things where, where you are a little bit more emotional. We're kind of doing inner searching, and maybe you're questioning, is my intuition right? Sometimes, I do that. We all kind of have those things where you get a feeling about something, and you're like, is this right? Am I on the right path here? So just watch for those signs and synchronicities from the universe to let you know if you are or not on the right path. And that can come again through nature, but you're just going to have to go within a little bit this week. All right. Soul Oracle deck says, choose friends wisely. Maybe this has something to do with a friend. Maybe this is some sort of something there with a friend. Could be. And it could just be that you're feeling something. Maybe something happened, and it's and it could be something as simple as, you were disappointed because you found that this friend went and did something with another friend and you weren't invited, and you're kind of, that kind of thing. That kind of thing where you're like feeling a little left out, and I don't know. I'm making guesses here because it's just so general. In fact, let's get the bottom of the deck. We didn't get, what is at the bottom of the tarot? Hidden from you this week is feeling like an outsider. So that's interesting that I said that. There's that card. But that's kind of hidden from you. So that's really not it, actually. Um, but yeah, like I get the feeling that you're kind of second guessing your own intuition. And maybe, maybe you're not quite reading those signs correctly. So again, pay attention to the universe, maybe just get clarity, go within yourself, see if some more clarity comes out. Take the lead. Well, and if you need to take the lead on something, there you go. I mean, I would take the lead on, again, some R&R. Relax yourself a little bit, go within. If you need to journal and write things down, if you're having thoughts and feelings and stuff about, and if sometimes writing or being creative gets those emotions off of your chest. um and I'm going to say again, because it's very hard to tell. We have quite a few major arcana out. Let's see, a few pentacles. What is missing here? What's missing from this entire reading are swords. So I don't see you. Everything's very emotional in this, but it's not very intellectual, and it's not very communicative. Like, there's no air energy. There's no air in this whole thing. And that's okay. I mean, that again, that could be just a quiet week, where you're feeling rather than thinking. But again, my advice is going to be, get out that journal and write things down. You don't have to say things out loud, but writing them down sometimes just gives us a little bit more clarity to figure out, exactly what's going on, and write down these intuitions. If you're having dreams, it's a good idea to keep keep a little dream journal. And sometimes that stuff, when it is intuitive or a dream, it doesn't make sense right away. It may take a little bit of time for things to come out and maybe a little confusing at first, the information that you're getting. But when you journal that and write that down, of course, you can go back in the future and check back. And sometimes it takes a while for those things to come to fruition, but you just kind of sort it out, tuck it in the back, and be like, okay, this is the thing that I've sensed. We'll see if it starts to come about or if I see the signs of this thing happening, if that makes sense. So, anyway, Virgo, I wish you the best of luck this week. It looks like you're just going to have one of those weeks where you are kind of in your own head, not really communicating a whole lot with a whole lot of other people. Again, there's no air energy here. There's no sword. So make sure that you're at least communicating with yourself and journaling to your future self. So I really appreciate your time here with me today. I hope there is something that you can take away and use in this reading. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below and let me know what's going on with you guys out there. I'd be curious to know, if you are having some intuitions about things that you can't make sense of, and just, watch for the synchronicities in the universe. It's just so helpful. It might take one or two little synchronicities for you to just turn this around so that you have such complete clarity about it. That happens with me all the time. So anyway, I do post readings every week. Feel free to come back next week and see if this energy continues or if there's something totally new here for you. Also, again, if you like my channel or like my reading style, please like and subscribe. It really does help my channel and it'll help you find me next week. So thanks so much, Virgo, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.